live on our recording. Testing. Okay. Is it workshop 3? Yeah, workshop 3 water sim. Cool. So, we should all have a basic landscape done with some foliage and some grass and some trees around. That was some homework, but obviously feel free to do it as of when you have time. What I've noticed with this beautiful landscape material that I found, which is free to download, also has a water asset built into it. So as I sculpt, I don't know if we covered that in the last one, but if I sculpt further deeper down, it will generate more and more water. So this is pretty optimized way, I'd say, if you're looking to develop this further into some game applications. Not necessarily the most appropriate for Archviz stuff, I'd say, but any simulations, games, large scale open world stuff, I suggest looking more down this rabbit hole because it is nice and easy to set up and then very dynamic to use across the board. But Unreal have introduced a new plugin per se, a built-in plugin, which is a water system. And primarily we'll be looking at that today, but we'll also cover some other um, general ways of tackling water using geometry. And then as a bonus tip, we'll look at some buoyancy effects and a little bonus tip if you saw my LinkedIn last week. For those of you, I'll do some promo. For those of you who don't follow me on LinkedIn, it's a very good platform to be on. I did a little sizzle reel on simulations with Niagara effects, but I think I shared that in the Discord as well. So that was a spoiler. Ah, silly. All right, cool. So first things first, let me bring up my notes. We will look at some resources from Fab. There are some very nice, as usual, I like to promote some built-in assets that we can use in Fab. Water Materials is one by Tharlev FX, so feel free to grab that. I'll show you a bit of that today, but if you go into generally, this is in my library, but if you go into all products and search for hello home water, and of course filter by price, free. The first one that comes up, I guess, for me is water materials. That's a very good one. Water physics, if you want to look into more depth of the buoyancy effects, it's pretty cool. Water planes only works up until 427, but it's really good. So if you want to deep dive into it a little bit more, I suggest downloading that version and then upgrading your project from 427 to 5 something, whatever you're using. That still works. I still use a lot of assets from 427, migrated to 5. So feel free to download to a low version, then upgrade. Some effects might not work the same, proceed with caution. So definitely experiment within 427 first to see how it all performs, but feel free to send it across the board. Most importantly, I want to emphasize on Australia. This beautiful little project, Rural Australia, has some fascinating assets, and actually I learned a lot from this project. How to use foliage, decals for leaves, save on performance. But if we move down to the pictures, it's got a beautiful setting. It has some amazing water. So feel free to, oh, look at that crisp. I know they make it on purpose for the renders, but it is beautiful. So feel free to dive into that project a little bit. It's a little bit big, but it's worth it. A lot of assets you can grab from there and reuse, and obviously have a look on how the water is done as well. It has some simulation, I think, so when leaves fall on it, it's like rumbling away. Gorgeous. Cool. So that's it for asset sharing. You can share all that later as well in the chat. Now let's move on to our plugin. So in our project, if we go into plugins and search water, we'll be searching for water a lot of times today. Ensure, obviously I did some testing before, but ensure that both water experimental and water extras are enabled, and restart your project. I'll give you a moment to do that. Let me know when we're happy.
Yeah, I'm restarting the project now.
Cool.
Might take a bit.
Should be relatively quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's quick.
Let me know if everyone's okay.
Yeah, we're good here. Right, Tim? Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Speak for the both. Me struggling? Groovy? Okay. Ray? Good. Quite important, this one. Cool. Okay. So under my contents folder, I have this beautiful folder called engine. Now, because I've enabled some settings, I might be able to see this, but for those of you who can't see this folder called engine, in your content browser, right hand side, you should have a settings button. If you click on that settings button, you can obviously change layouts, vertical, horizontal, and show specific projects. We want to scroll down to content, and we want to show plugin content and show engine content, both of those. And once you enable those, the tick, the checkbox, you should see it now on the left hand side under your content browser. Now, if we enable that, if we open that up, now you can see plugins. Under plugins, a list of all plugins that's enabled or have access to enable, or I guess have enabled in your project. It's a lot of stuff. So I suggest if you're cleaning up for a game packaging, go through some of these that you don't need and disable them. Otherwise, they'll be packaged into your project. Now we're going to scroll all the way down to find W water content. Under variant manager, we have water content. In water content, we have a number of things: blueprints, materials, meshes, textures, effects, etc. Beware, please, beware that anything you change in this folder changes across the board for the plugin. So any other project you open in the future and you want to use some of this stuff, if you've changed it, it will affect it. So otherwise you have to re-download the engine again, which you don't want to do unless you have pretty fast internet speed. So anything you want to use in here, I suggest whatever, opening it up, making a copy. Let's say I want a material, I'll select this material, I'll make a copy of it, and I'll use that one, and then I'll take it out of this folder and I'll move it into my content folder, basically, so that it's then in my project and doesn't live in this plugins folder unless I want it to live there, unless I plan to use it in the future and I want this stuff to, I want that file to be in there, let's say. But proceed with caution. Please don't edit the original versions. There is no going back unless you reinstall. So don't say I didn't tell you, I didn't warn you. So that being said, we will now keep that open there for now. We're going to use that in a minute. We're just going to see what some of this material does. So if we just bring in a plane into our project, for those of you, I don't have the modes enabled. If I go into window, I can do place actors, and I've got this little tab here which shows me all the actors I can place, and I can use this. I usually just use this drop down and I just search. If I need to, you can just search. There's no search button, but you can search over. But I'll have that open just for tutorial's sake. It's nice and handy. So basic shapes, I'm going to go ahead and drag in a plane just into my scene anywhere. Doesn't have to be anywhere specific right now. And just for sake of it, I'm going to scale it to about, let's try 500. Nice big white plane. Lovely. Whoa, look at that. Cool. Sweet. Covers a bit of my land. Nice. Well, we've got that plane there. I'm going to go into the water content folder, which we are open here. And I don't know if I've shown you guys how to work with filters before, but if you go into this open the add filter menu on your content browser, these three little lines next to search, you can filter by things that you use frequently. So for those who haven't seen it, filter button here, filter by materials. Let's say if I use materials and material instances often, I'll just enable those so that I have them here on the list, and I can just trigger them when I'm looking for stuff very quickly. So that's pretty handy. Or best case scenario, if you're looking for something, search water in the materials. Now this will give me a bunch of stuff, but I want to filter by material instance, which is why I like this little filters section here. So if I enable material under filters, material instance, and then I click material instance under my filters here, I just get the material instances available to me. Let me know if that was too fast or if you guys got that. It's quite handy.
Yes, we got it.
Sweet. Me?
I'm just amazed by how tiny my plane is.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, if you want a small sea, small lake, then it's down to you, mate. It's totally down to you. Cool. So, if we search for water under water content, we get under caustics, we get a couple of material instances here. Let's go for water caust. No, we want caustics. Analytical. Let's go for analytical. Just for the sake of it, we won't make a copy, but we'll use it for now and drag and drop it onto your plane. Preview water caustics analytical. It's the material. And once we drag and drop that on to the plane or into the materials, we now see a lovely little water effect. Whee! So this is an old method using materials. This is handy in certain situations. If you want to build little pools, again, if you're building a swimming pool and you just want a little material on top, you don't want to build the whole water effect, because the water simulation that we're going to look into in a minute, it's more for, let's say, you're building a game where you want the character to be able to swim and go underwater. In general, you want to use that water a bit more elegantly, let's say. So this plane, pretty useful for, I guess, Archviz stuff as well, but I would say you can use little components of these little planes or spheres or circles or whatever it is that you're doing. So that's one way of achieving it. Now you can create your own water material. If we open this water instance and have a look at what's inside, we get different stuff like the water speed, the waves, I believe, as well, the textures, the shading, the shadows, all that stuff. Now they've taken most of this stuff and have built it into basically the editor, which allows us to manipulate waves and sizes and all that fun stuff, which you're going to look into. So that's option number 1. Now I've gone ahead and downloaded that folder I was talking about in my context, which is water materials, and just to show you guys what's what. And I've got a material in here that's got lake instances. Ooh, got waterfall. Nice. What's waterfall? Whee! Okay. That's not what I want. Just playing around there. Lake. Ooh, okay, it's got some animation effects to it. Sick. Whee! Obviously, I can go in and play with these parameters. But this is some of the assets you could download for free and experiment with. Now, oh, this looks scary. What I'm going to do is right click and create a material instance, so that if I apply the material instance, I then have access to all this stuff in here, which is cool. Depth, roughness, scale, all that stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. Speed, variations, intensities. Feel free to experiment in your own time to get the right look and feel for your environment. Think about it very, very well, because obviously this kind of stuff stands out. You want it to look picturesque, just like the picture we have in Discord that we're following. So make sure it like matches color wise with your environment, with the time of day, the lighting that hits on it, stuff like that. Cool. So I'm gonna delete option number 1. I do have it somewhere here as well as another option. Little plane, fields, little ocean effect, nice little glow of the sunlight. And this is from one of the materials in here. Nice. So I just wanted to show you use case of the fab content that I've downloaded, and we've gone through the plugins content folder and what's available in there. We'll go through it a little bit more once we play with our first water plane. So if we didn't enable the plugin, we wouldn't have access to the water stuff that Unreal has for us. If we search water under our nodes, and we have if you're looking for it in here, which is the way I use it, next to selection mode, if you go to all classes, you can just search water and it'll give you the same list of stuff here as well. But if you use the node based, feel free to look at it through here. Now we get a bunch of stuff, which is really, really cool. Pretty self-explanatory, really. If you're doing a lake, it's a lake. An ocean is an ocean. River is a river. You can combine lots of these effects together. Brush manager, landscape brush, if you're integrating it with your landscape. Lots of cool stuff. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna try what I want, an ocean or a lake. What goes better with my landscape here? Oh, excuse my floating pumpkin. I'm gonna go for an ocean. So I'm gonna drag and drop an ocean into my level and let go. And immediately, if we zoom out, we got this nice big little ocean. Whee! Quick tip: if you don't have a landscape in your environment, you cannot use the water, ocean stuff, body lake and stuff like that. So it only works with a landscape. As we move it across the landscape, we can see that it updates. If we didn't have a landscape, these updates wouldn't work, the collisions wouldn't work. Unless you create a landscape from a mesh, vice versa, feel free to try. I'm not sure that will work, but purely sure all the stuff I've read is with landscapes. Now, we want this to look realistic, so obviously here it's too high up the ground. I want it to go a little bit lower. Let's say to create my little lake effect-ish. Doesn't really matter at this point. So there it is. And obviously the bit in the middle is where Let's say if we had an island or landscape that we want to situate around it, we would play with these spline parameters. So I can click on one of these splines and I can move it around, and that will update where I want the center point to be. Now, if I wanted to create a new spline point, what I do is I right click on the spline itself, or shortcut is A, and add spline point here. That generates a new spline point, and we get rid of that oval effect, and now I can start to manipulate that a little bit more. So if you really want to go granular around a specific area, we've all worked with splines before, you would have to generate quite a few and align them neatly. But this is just a way of doing that. Now, I'm not particularly concerned about this centerpiece because I'm going to make it go really, really low and only visible in certain areas. So I'm just going to place it, maybe a little bit lower. I'm going to focus on this area. This is where I'm going to put my beautiful little house.
I'm not sure if you covered it just now, but I put the ocean in and made my entire terrain flat.
I think it's because
Just
it's
you.
not made in terrain was not made in the Unreal Engine.
It is. It's with the terrain of.
Except that it's not working.
Have you got
Oh,
a
right.
landscape? As like, have you got a landscape in your world? If you search in your outliner.
Yes.
Okay. If you delete the water, does it bring back your landscape?
Yes.
Interesting. Do you want to try a lake?
Yeah, let me try that one. It was working for a second, and then I brought it down too low, and everything went flat.
Okay. Do you want to bring it higher up to see if it works for now? And then we can experiment with that.
Bringing up the lake starts to terraform a bit.
Okay. What hardware are you using out of curiosity? Graphics card.
Hardware. Oh, which one is it? True.
30.
3060
Should
and
be fine. Should be fine then.
yeah,
Okay.
no, that's the engine problem. It's like affecting the terrain when I lower and raise and lower the lake.
Do you have this thing on your asset in our outliner called Landscape Water Brush Manager?
Yeah, it's there.
And Water Zone and Water Body Ocean, all that stuff's
Yes.
there.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, one to look into. Probably not a very immediate quick fix, I reckon, that I know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's okay. Yeah, continue. I just wanted to know if it was a quick fix, like I clicked something wrong.
I'm not quite sure actually. I think it looks like the collision is not updating and it's going over completely. Maybe even re-enabling the plugin will work, but maybe if you can get it over your landscape at least, just to play with the water stuff for
Yeah.
now, as the landscape is not too important how it collides with it right now, but we can troubleshoot that in a minute. Cool, that's interesting. Nice bug fixing. I like it. Everyone's got a different result. Love it. Cool. So we got the water in there. We played around with the spline effects as such. If we go into the details of the water body ocean, if we click on it, we have water. That's the extent, bounds, how big it is. The terrain, how it sits. Maybe this is something that might be affecting your stuff, Cat. We'll look into that in a minute. and then what we're going to focus on is waves. So in this wave attenuation water depth, it's currently at 248. If we, let's say, go a little bit closer and we decrease that value, we can, or increase it, we can now start to see what effect that has on our waves and how smooth they are. Excuse me. Now this is something we can also adjust in another asset that we're going to create in a minute, but this is just a quick way of making it really smooth. So in the wave attenuation water depth, 0 makes it rough, increase it makes it pretty nice and smooth, which if we're going for a little lake scenario, we want that water to be nice and still, nice and flat. But we're going to manipulate that more with our water waves asset. So underneath in this water source, if we open this asset, water waves asset, and we browse to it, we can see, if we browse to the asset, so it takes us to where it's saved, we can see it's in the engine plugins water content. Now we don't want to manipulate that asset at all. We want to create a copy of it. So you can right click and duplicate, or you can Control D and make a copy of it. You can keep it in there for now if you want, and then obviously drag and drop that asset that you just created, that you just duplicated, and drop it into the water waves asset. Or you can click the drop down and enable it from there. Don't forget to create a copy. Kind reminder. Cool, so we'll fire that up. I'll bring it here to the side so you can see what's happening at the same time. So we've got a little preview, beautiful preview of what our water looks like. Now you might notice the texture looks a bit different. That's obviously the way our lighting is affecting it. But in here it's just a basic HDRI simulation. So you might not get the same color correction there. But in here, don't know if I've opened this before. Let me close it down. We have a number of different parameters. Default is default. Wavelengths, amplitude, directions, and steepness. Now we'll just cover these briefly. We won't go too much into detail. You will experiment with it to create your own beautiful lake or ocean for your effect. Number of waves, self-explanatory. If I set this to 1, it's obviously not going to display that many waves. If I send it to 50, it's going to create more waves. Seed is the I'm not too sure. Randomness is the direction in which they spawn. Wavelength, it's how long this wave lasts, if we want it a shortcut or if we want it a nice long smooth stretch. I can change that to be closer to my max. It's a cool effect. I'll decrease my wavelength and decrease my max as well. Let's see what that does. Nice. It's like a little swimming pool effect, isn't it? Cool, so you can experiment with that. The fall off amplitude. If we increase the amplitude, is how high it goes. Never seen waves like that. We can bring that down. We can bring the min down as well if we want to make it nice and smooth, I guess. And obviously 0, 0 is flat completely if we don't want any height. If I increase that, you can see the height start to form. Again, if your house is situated right in the middle of the ocean, this might be realistic. I might live on a ship, who knows. Directions, self-explanatory. Steepness, what's the difference between steepness and amplitude? Oh, it's the wishy-washy effect, isn't it? When it hits and it goes back, I think. That's the steepness. So wishy-washy. Is that we like our sound effects in these workshops. I hope that made sense. Cool. So feel free to experiment with the water waves a little bit more to get it nice and crisp to how you like it. Don't forget, if you created it, if you copied the asset, if you're going to use it often, just bring it back into your content browser. So that's drag and drop it into your content browser and move it there just for sanity. And then obviously put it in the relevant folders. Organization is key. Cool. Collisions we'll get to later. Okay, I think that's pretty much that for now. Oh, the water material, is that somewhere here? HLOD, we don't want the HLOD, the water material ocean. Again, it's in the masters folder. If you want to play with it, I suggest duplicating it, Control D, and then drag and dropping it into the water material. Material instance, yeah, thankfully. And then we can bring it to the side and start to play a little bit more with the parameters. Is there like color or anything here? Ocean foam, absorption, scattering. Ooh, what's really cool, I'm curious if anyone has gone under the water. Hands up if you've gone under the water. I can't see your fingers. Damn.
I tried it with the plane earlier, and you kind of can see it's like looking through glass.
Well, with this one is you got proper post-process volume. Proper.
Oh,
So you can play around with this as well. The post-process, it comes under a material, so you can enable that and disable that if you want. I'd say no difference whatsoever. Enabling and disabling. Sorry, something here.
so if you change the color of the water, it'll turn out to be like red or purple underneath.
Exactly. Beautiful. Create whatever you make it the Red Sea. Yeah, this sort of stuff is a lot of experimental stuff, like the plugin says, experimental. So proceed with caution when doing builds. This is constantly stuff that's being updated, so keep an eye out. But yeah, experiment with water materials. Don't forget to make copies, post-process material, make a copy of that as well, and adjust all the parameters to get it nice and crisp. Moving on. Water depth. Okay, I guess. Damn, this workshop's moving fast. Is it too quick? How are we looking? How are your oceans and lakes looking like? Maybe except from Cat, for now.
Yeah, mine's looking rough.
Yeah, mine,
Is that Joe?
mine crashed twice,
Oh, okay.
so I'm also not. So I also my landscape didn't go flat, but it went from a lake to like a little mountain. Nipple situation.
Okay, lovely. I'm glad I put these YouTube videos under no kids filter. Interesting effect for both. Should we dive into that a little bit, you reckon? Got a bit of time. Crashing is one thing. That's probably a computer performance issue. So me, I suggest working with planes and materials for your hardware's sake. But if you can get it to work, great. I don't know why it would do that.
I'm confused because I have a 3080 Ti, so it shouldn't
No, it
be that,
shouldn't.
right?
I mean, Unreal works with 427, which machines, the specs for 427 machines are really, really low. I think they run on 10, even 1060, 1080. That is weird. It's crashing. Maybe there's a conflict somewhere. When your project crashes, do you just relaunch it and then work on it again?
Yeah, and then depends on how smart I was about saving, how far back I have to go.
Cool. Yeah, that's always the struggle with life. I guess, yeah, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes it stores some really annoying cache of the crash bug report. There's like a hack where if you launch your project again, close it down, and then relaunch it again, then it sort of helps the performance a little bit. I've seen that once in a video after a crash. It says to do that sometimes if you're working with something that keeps crashing all the time repetitively. If you do the same thing, they've made this water system pretty like performance smooth. I think so. It shouldn't have any effect on hardware. I think I'm not sure why. Landscape getting flat is definitely another issue. But crashing, yeah, not too sure. You happy working with planes for now? Yeah. Anyway, for this sort of project style, I just wanted to show this because it's cool. But for this sort of project style, probably I'm gonna end up using planes as well to match my image because it's probably will work better in the render as well. This stuff might not render as smoothly as it looks in the editor. There's a lot of rendering stuff that's gone into it to look the way it looks. So I would do a test render if you want with this C stuff, with this built-in water experimental stuff, just to see how the output is before you actually fix it completely and put it into your landscape and make it look crisp, and then you do a render and it's like, it's invisible. And you go down a troubleshoot rabbit hole, which is great, but you might not find the right answer. So because it is experimental, so yeah, I would say water planes as well is a good shout. Now, who's up for playing with some buoyancy? I love to use that word since I found that out. Don't know how to spell it yet, but buoyant.
If it
Cool.
works with a plane.
If it works, no, oh no, doesn't work with the plane.
All right, then I'll just have to watch your demonstration.
You don't. You can put the sea acid in, right? It just doesn't. It just makes your landscape flat.
I sent 2 photos of what it looks like
Oh, sorry.
in the caring and sharing channel, and you can see it either goes completely flat or it makes like a little tiny dip and just completely flattens the entire terrain.
Same.
Same for you as
Yeah.
well? Yeah. Like it was working, and then I moved it down, and it just suddenly just affected the entire terrain and made it flat.
That is bonkers. Can you do me a quick favor? Can you disable the plugin?
All right.
Disable the plugin, restart your editor, and then re-enable it and restart again, just to see what that does. Apologies for those
Alright.
who are observing.
Yeah, for science, no problem.
Yes, let's call this science with unreasonable results.
So you said to uncheck the plugins, restart, check the plugins, and then restart?
Yeah.
Alright.
Button. Me, maybe if it's still crashing, maybe it's worth doing that for you as well. Me. Ray, I'm guessing everything is perfect for you because we haven't heard any issues.
But the water
No, I think I really need some time to take all this in. I think I will try after the workshop.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
slower pace is the feedback. Cool. Cool. Yeah, we're just trying to fix some troubleshooting that's going on. Hopefully it will work for everyone. It's good to see the stuff and hear it, so that saves a lot of time on your end. Any luck?
Let me add in the water asset again.
Boom, it works.
Oh.
No? Yes?
I'll send you a photo.
We've got another problem now. Okay, so now you're in a good place. We're in a good place.
Yeah, there's water, but the terrain is completely flattened.
Oh, it's still flattened. Okay, something to do with a collision.
And it's just the default. I haven't changed anything either. None of the settings have changed.
Okay, it must be a reoccurring issue then if it's with a few things. Okay, we'll look into this and we'll find a solution. There should definitely be one. But for the bonus effect, it's going to be a quick bonus tip anyway, so we'll proceed with that. You might not want to use this in your projects for this particular render that we're doing at the end, but maybe you might want to use it in the future. I was thinking, like, if I was doing my scenery, maybe this could be mistaken as the Scottish Highlands, and I want to create a little Loch Ness monster type effect. Not sure if you're familiar with the reference, but sea creature just hovering over and creating some puddles and effects, which might look good in a video render. Or I put these tips in somewhere. Yeah, like I said in the chat last week, you can create a nice little boat sim and it will update as you go. Oh no, sorry, that's in the Niagara. Spoiler, I'll show that in a minute. Cool, so buoyant. If we go into, again, the water content folder, and in blueprints, we should have this BP buoyant example. Now, simply, Unreal just allow us to drag and drop it into our level, chuck it up in the air, hit simulate, boom, kind of works. Ish. Stop that. Why doesn't it work? When you enable the plugin, I don't know if you guys have done this. I'll restart my I think I've done this already. Should work on mine. Never trust it. If I restart my project, come on, compiling shaders. No error message. When you enable the plugin, maybe I need to do the same as well, re-enable it and disable it, hence why this is experimental, so proceed with caution. When you enable the plugin and you launch the project, you should get a pop-up with an error message that appears here. I'll share a tip for the video that comes. I'll share another video that's got a tip for it, because it doesn't show up on mine for some reason. But in this pop-up, if you navigate to the right hand side of the pop-up, it says enable something in your default engine file. And once you apply that, hit apply, and it will enable it. It will automatically allow you to it will automatically allow the simulation to show you a specific parameter that's available in the water body ocean. So if I click on water body ocean right now and I scroll down to collision, I should set it to water body collision. That way it will apply all the collisions in respect to water body. What that means, if you expand this and you see collision presets, basically it will ignore a camera going through it. That's fine, and it will allow these objects to overlap. So it will allow a vehicle to overlap with it. It will allow pawn, which is our player, destructible object, and obviously it will block any world static object, which might be the case for this moving block at the moment. So just want to show you what that collision water body does there. It's only available if you enable that error message, which is why it's quite crucial. I'm not sure why it's not popped up, but make sure that water body collision is available under your collisions in your water body ocean. I'll try to simulate once more. Oh, there it is. Okay, it works now. Whee! Look at that little floating cube and a little pumpkin in the background. Oh, I was excited to show you the buoyance with the pumpkin now, as in like a task to do it ourselves. But anyway, you can enjoy my one. Let's go ahead and break down how I did that. Basically, this lovely little buoyance asset, I'll browse to the asset. Like I said, it lives in the plugins folder. I'll create a copy of it. And inside the copy, I'm going to go ahead to Fab, find the little pumpkin asset. And I think I picked one of these. Pick one of these and I import it into my project. Whee, looking cool. I would love for you guys to do this today or tomorrow if you manage to get to work somehow. So we want videos of this for the workshop socials later on. So I've imported my pumpkin. Where is it? Content, Fab, Halloween. It even allows you to put emojis now in Unreal. Sick. So I've got my asset in here. Now, what's very important to understand with this buoyance is if you look at this box and we identify this box, you can see the pivot point is in the center of the cube. If it was below the cube, it might not, or above the cube, it might not have the same effect. The buoyance effect is applied to the pivot point of the object. So if I drag and drop, let's say this pumpkin that I imported in here, it didn't have the pivot centered, but I centered it just for a test. And if it's not centered, this is a quick tip. In case you bring assets into Unreal often and you work with pivots and you're trying to align stuff, if you go into the modeling section of Unreal, if that's not enabled, you can enable it through the plugins. In the modeling section, you have this X form, transforms and conversions, and in here I have edit pivot. So I can edit its transform, I can edit its pivot, I can bake the transform, I can convert it into a mesh, do a number of things with this stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just edit pivot, and here I can either center it to the bottom, to the left, to the right, but in this case world origin, if we want to set it to world origin, but in this case I want it to be centered. Once I accept, bear in mind, it updates this asset here. So I've done this before, and I'm warning you not to do it because it's really painful. If you've copy and pasted this asset, so let's say I've got this asset in here, I copy it, boom, I put it there, I've aligned it with another wall, I've aligned it with the ocean, let's say, because why not? And I've scaled it and it all looks great. And then I want to adjust this particular one, and I adjust the pivot this one, it will adjust the pivot of that one. That might not give you very desirable effects, and I want to put exclamation marks on that. So make sure you create duplicates of your assets if you're changing anything in the modeling section. Anything in this modeling section updates the asset itself. Like I said before, didn't say I didn't warn you. Cool. So now that my pumpkin pivot is in place, I'm going to go back to selection. and I'm gonna go back into see, bad updating. I didn't put it in my content folder. I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna go and put it so I can find it easily and I don't lose it. Move here. Now I've got my buoyance example, and inside, not the event graph, but in the viewport, it's huge. I scaled it. I've got static mesh here, and obviously if you duplicated it, it came with the cube, but in this case I'm gonna put my pumpkin, and because we've duplicated it, it comes with this buoyance effect, which comes with a list of parameters which you can dive into in more detail, river forces, etc. This works with a lot of simulation stuff, which I recommend looking into. Cool. So it's there. Compile, save, and if I drag and drop it into my water, I need to place it above the water, otherwise it won't simulate correctly. So I'll place it above the water, and if you don't know what simulate is, I don't think we covered it in the past. Usually you have plain viewport, which is these three dots here. You have select modes, different modes. You can play with a standalone game, you can play simulation, you can play in the selected viewport. Standalone game will just generate an executable for you and will play it back. So I will just hit simulate because I want it to start where my camera is now at the moment. So I hit simulate, and whee, go in the water, and it's coming up. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. And we can look at it from beneath, and let's go full screen, and we can look at it from above. And if I actually hit play again from underneath, you can see whoa. Lovely.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the buoyance tool set. Pretty straightforward. It's available, it's ready. Copy and paste it and start playing around with it with your own custom assets. Because this has one pivot, it's easy to create the buoyance effect because it's only filtering around that. But if you have an object that's got multiple pivots, like a boat or a sailing ship or something like that, maybe it has lots, maybe it buoyances sideways depending on your waves. You might want to I'll send some details into how to experiment with that. I've got another video for that stuff. I'm gonna leave you with a last bonus tip, because we haven't done any Niagara. Yeah, sorry, I almost called it Niagara again. Because we haven't done any Niagara stuff yet, I didn't want to cover it in this tutorial because it would be too much for plugins and stuff. But I just wanted to showcase to you guys what I've done last week in experimentation. I'll send you the video. It's a 5-minute video. You can copy it if you want just to get started. But what you'll end up with is this nice real-time, I'm not even hitting play, no play, real-time in the editor, creating this beautiful little hollow. Whoop. We like a little effect, don't we? Come on, who's going to do it with me when I drop it? Cool. So yeah, you can use objects and create, as I was saying in Discord last week, animations with sequencer. So let's say you want to do the Loch Ness Monster in your river, in your lake. You would animate this from this direction, let's say, to this direction, depending on where you want to go in your sequencer. And then you can play this in your render when you're about to hit render, basically. So it's nice to be able to see this in real time and what this effect does. Now, if you're working with this system, it's quite different to the rest. Not the same things apply. So, like I said, again, this is a plane as well. Is it plane? I lie. It's a Niagara system. So it's not on a plane. So it's got its own parameters. But you don't get... you might be able to. because it's a visual effect, you might not be able to get those nice crisp waves that we've seen in the previous examples. But again, this is beautiful for maybe stuff that's happening in the distance, you know, if you're working with that. Don't know if I move it, can I see the effect? Yeah, minimal. So yeah, good for close-up stuff. Lovely, sorry for the overrun. We'll troubleshoot some of these issues tomorrow if possible, but feel free to try and have a gander yourself on Google. I'll be curious to see if any of you come up with something that is a button that fixes everything for everyone. It's usually the case, especially if multiple people have it. It's something I've probably enabled in the past and completely forgot about, which is a mistake. Should have wrote it down somewhere in the Bible. But yeah, feel free to have a look on how to fix that, and I'll share some more tips and tricks. If you don't, I can help tomorrow, and I can help Saturday, and I can help Monday, because this is quite a crucial part to our scenery. Nothing gives life without water. Coolio. Any questions?
Well, besides the terrain being flattened, no,
Aha,
everything was
pancake.
really well explained.
The pancake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the buoyancy to work actually.
Sorry.
I got the buoyancy to work.
Oh, nice. Cool. Just on a flat landscape. Not
Yes.
very buoyant friendly.
I can't send a video of it. It's too big.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
But yeah, I got it. Yeah, on the flat ocean.
I'll do some research. Also, if I find anything, I'll give you guys a shout. But yeah, feel free to
Thank you.
try it a bit more. Yeah, cool. Anything else apart from that?
Do you have
Groovy?
anything, June?
Other thing,
Other thing.
June wants to know about the Niagara system now. She just wants to make that.
no, see this? Like I have one, two, three, and then it
So he has a bunch of trees from from last lesson, and when he gets close, all the leaves disappear.
That's the culling effect. That's probably, is it the instance here? We go to the material. That's either in the material itself of the leaves, the LOD system. Is that in the material? Sorry, not the material. Sorry, what am I saying? The asset itself. The asset. If you find the static mesh that it is, and open it up, you can check the LOD system, what it's currently using. If it's not the LOD system, it's definitely, well, I say definitely, in the material, you can also find the texture. And if you browse to the texture, you also have, I think we also covered this in the last one. From texture group sometimes doesn't work. If you use no mipmaps, it basically uses zero. It's telling it to use zero LODs. So if you enable no mipmaps and give that a try, let's see.
my case, it's not.
No.
It's more like there are too many objects. So at one point, the computer can't handle it and just make leaves disappear.
Oh, there's too much
Oh, yeah.
volume.
Because when you get close, the leaves are still there, but sometimes it just makes it look like winter happened.
It's just the leaves are disappearing because there's so many. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of
And that's using the foliage or the
Foliage painter, right?
foliage painter, yeah. Okay. Does it look like this? Christmas. It's overlapping of meshes, yeah. I guess it's the density and a poor asset. Poor
He'll
asset.
send a screen.
Cool. Love a screenshot.
It's very weird.
Weird and wonderful things happening in Unreal. Okay.
Yeah, it is very.
What am I looking
You get
at?
very things.
Like one pixel here.
You're looking at the ones in
Yeah,
the
just-
background.
All of them, right?
All of it.
What's wrong with them? Sorry.
I moved my camera like one pixel and all the leaves are gone.
Are we seeing? Oh, sorry. Now, so the second one.
Listen.
That's beautiful. That is. I mean, he just created a simulation on its own. It's like winter has come within a freaking click. Beautiful. Love it. Jesus. Why? Why? That is so bizarre. I'm really scratching my head with this. Some
I don't know,
interesting
emphasis is
issues.
coming.
Interesting.
You know,
issues.
Unreal Engine likes to take things away from you sometimes.
Yeah, your soul. That's not good to say in the workshops. No wonder I will become a established educator. Okay, that's interesting, June. That is also one to look into.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I don't even know what to Google. Why? Okay, we'll. How about we dedicate? How about we dedicate next session on troubleshooting? How do we feel about that?
Sure. That sounds very useful.
Yeah. How do we go through each and everyone's problems and just make sure it works? Like it's quite useful because then you start, you Google the right terminology, you look at the right resources online, filter and sorts of stuff. It's good to know that stuff as well. Follow the right channels on YouTube. There's a lot of wellies out there that think they know. Hey,
Does it work?
nice.
There you go. For your social media posts.
Whee!
One student successful.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I love to see the pumpkin.
Oh, yeah, I should have done that. I'm sorry.
No worries. Cool. All right, let's dedicate next session. What was going to be next session anyway? Let me check my notes. Workshops for folk cards and clouds, which is one that Kat wanted, I think.
Yeah.
So let's see how we get on with troubleshooting, and maybe we might touch on that. I'll have something prepared anyway.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then we'll see. We next are folk cards and advanced environment and lighting, so we can look at either or. They're both quite combined, intercombined, I guess.
Sounds
Coolio.
good. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna stop the recording there.